told you that an F1 car used to lag behind 30 seconds from the rest of the pack? Or think of a car that was leading, but suddenly an issue occurred with the spark plug, leaving it stranded in the middle of a racetrack.
I think it's got an exhaust broken or something like that. He's going to drive clean past him.
Alonso's through and past Vettel.
Sounds like a nightmare, right? Unfortunately, there have been many instances in F1 when such scenarios have occurred. Sometimes it was a mechanical issue, while at other times it was something as simple as bad luck. So, let's dive in and look at the cursed cars that were built to win but ended up being born to fail. The 2010 Formula One season started with high hopes and excitement as the teams and drivers made their way to the Bahrain Grand Prix. For the first and only time, the race was held on the endurance layout of the circuit, adding a unique twist to the season opener. Everyone was eager to see how the new season would unfold, and all eyes were on Sebastian Vettel, the young Red Bull racing driver who had secured pole position and qualified. Leading from the front, Vettel looked unstoppable as he skillfully commanded the race. However, Vettel's Red Bull suffered a heartbreaking setback on lap 33. What seemed to be a smooth drive turned into a disaster when a tiny spark plug issue caused his engine to lose power. The problem may have been small in size, but the impact was massive. His car slowed down, and with it, his hopes of securing a victory began to fade. One moment, he was leading the pack, and the next, he found himself slipping all the way down to 4th place. Meanwhile, Ferrari made the most of the opportunity. Fernando Alonso, in his very first race for the team, took advantage of Vettel's misfortune and grabbed the top spot. Alonso cruised to victory, making his Ferrari debut even more memorable. To add to the team's joy, Felipe Massa finished in 2nd place, giving Ferrari an incredible 1-2 finish. What a loss by Vettel, but what a win for Ferrari. Imagine pouring millions of dollars into a dream, working tirelessly for years, and still not achieving victory. That's exactly what happened with Toyota's Formula One racing team. When Toyota joined Formula One in 2002, it had one of the largest budgets in the history of the sport. Everyone expected them to dominate the scene because, in Formula One, money usually brings better cars, faster engines, and skilled drivers. But everything went the opposite way. Despite all that money and effort, Toyota never won a single race. Yes, not even a single race. For 8 full seasons, Toyota tried its best to reach the top. They did come close a few times, earning 5 second-place finishes, but close isn't enough in Formula One. Winning is everything. Surprisingly, even with their massive budget and the best technology they could afford, they couldn't reach the checkered flag first. By 2009, Toyota's Formula One dream came to an end. After spending millions with little to show for it, they decided to leave the sport, selling the team to a smaller, less famous company called HRT. What a fail! The McLaren Honda MP430 was supposed to mark the glorious return of the unstoppable McLaren-Honda partnership, but 2015 turned into a year they'd probably love to forget. So, what went wrong? Well, a lot of things. First up, the Honda RA615H engine was a major problem right from the start. It lacked power, it was incredibly unreliable. To make matters worse, the team often had to detune it just to keep the car running, which left them miles behind the competition. Then, there was the ambitious Size Zero design concept. McLaren wanted an ultra-compact, aerodynamic look for the car with a narrow, sleek rear end, but this created a nightmare for packaging the Honda engine. The design cramped the space for the turbo components and energy recovery systems, which ultimately affected their performance on the track. On top of all this, McLaren and Honda couldn't seem to get on the same page. Communication issues plagued the partnership, with Honda misjudging the complexity of modern Formula One and McLaren refusing to budge on their design demands. If that wasn't enough, rush deadlines and strict testing limits made it nearly impossible to get everything right before the season started. The fallout was clear. Disaster after disaster on race day, penalties piling up, and barely any points scored. The MP430 should have been a win and comeback, but instead, it became a lesson in how ambition and poor teamwork can take a good idea and completely derail it. The 2007 Spyker F87 was a car that promised much but delivered far less, and its story is one of high hopes crushed by challenges on every side. The rush development cycle was a huge obstacle. The F87 was really just an upgraded version of the older Midland M16, quickly tweaked to fit the new Ferrari engine. This quick turnaround left the car unpolished and lacking the aerodynamic finesse that rival teams had mastered. While the Ferrari engine brought more horsepower than their earlier Toyota engines, the car's chassis couldn't keep up, causing the raw power to go to waste. Aerodynamics was another big weak spot. Competing teams had sleek designs that soared on the track, but Spyker couldn't match their efficiency. The F87 struggled for speed and grip, leaving its drivers fighting for scraps at the back of the grid. On top of it all, Spyker hit major financial roadblocks. With tight budgets and strategic mishaps, they simply couldn't afford the updates needed to stay competitive. The season went from bad to worse, and by mid-year, the team's troubles ended in its sale to Vijay Mallya's Force India. Toyota's TF109 was a car full of promise and potential, yet it became a story of missed opportunities in the 2009 Formula One season. This machine had everything it needed to challenge at the front. Its powerful 2.4-liter V8 engine delivered over 700 horsepower, and its clever double-decker diffuser gave it an early advantage. The car even claimed a pole position in Bahrain, showcasing its outright speed. But as the season progressed, the TF109's true nature was revealed. In reality, it was a car plagued by inconsistency and strategic missteps. A major problem was the car's unpredictable pace. One week, it could dazzle fans, while the next, it was a mid-pack struggle. When we get to the track, we don't know if we're fast or slow, a team member lamented, perfectly summing up the frustration. Toyota's inability to keep up in the development race further compounded the problem, causing them to slip further behind competitors despite glimpses of brilliance. Strategic and operational errors also weighed the team down. The factory-focused mindset often neglected the urgent demands of trackside operations, slowing critical tasks like car rebuilds. Add in a corporate culture that felt too structured and out of sync with Formula One's fast-paced nature, and it was a recipe for disaster. The 2002 Formula One season was a dramatic roller coaster for Jaguar Racing, with the disastrous Jaguar R3 still in the spotlight. Nicknamed the aerodynamic catastrophe, this car's story was one of high hopes quickly dashed by major design flaws. The major problem was a huge aerodynamic mistake, especially with its front wing, which couldn't create the downforce needed to keep the car steady and glued to the track. Without enough grip, the lightweight R3 skidded and struggled through corners, leaving it helpless against the competitors. What started as a car with potential turned into a battle for survival on every lap. The R3 faced many problems, from hydraulic failures to constant gearbox troubles that caused the car to break down in the middle of races. These issues meant the team couldn't count on the car to perform well and led to many race retirements. On top of this, Jaguar Racing struggled with unstable management, including the departure of Steve Nichols and other important staff. This made it hard to solve the R3's big problems, and drivers like Eddie Irvine were left feeling annoyed and frustrated. So, these were some of the F1 cars that were built to win, but ended up being major disappointments. Smash that like button if you found the video informative, and don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon so we know you're a true Formula One fan.